outside world is watching, and the outside world is just not going to bring their business to New York, and that's going to cost the city trillions and the state trillions and trillions of dollars. Businesses are leaving, and people are fleeing.
Here with Reaction, Committee to Unleash Prosperity co-founder Steve Moore, along with former Assistant Treasury Secretary for Public Affairs and host of the Monica Crowley podcast, Monica Crowley. Steve, to you first. Donald Trump making the point, he's made it several times, that this political trial of Donald Trump, a businessman, not just the criminal trial, but the civil trials, taking Donald Trump to the tune of $500 million in penalties and interest. Does this have an impact on people's willingness to invest and do business in New York?
Yeah, you better believe it. And, you know, it's so interesting listening to your previous conversation. Let's face it, there's nobody in America who believes that if this trial had been in Iowa or Texas or Florida or Montana, that it wouldn't have been, a unanimous verdict not guilty. And so this shows how, split ideologically our country is. We're blue state America and red state America. And I don't say that with any joy, but it is very clear that and incidentally, I just find it to be fascinating. How do you find 12 jurors that would all agree on this verdict? I mean, I'm just mystified by that. I mean, I could see 7 or 8, but all 12 of them. So yeah, this is a big black eye to New York, and I think it's going to take a long time for that great city to recover from this. People really believe, if you're someone like me who's a Trump guy, hey, I'm worried about going to New York. I mean, they're coming. And Trump, by the way, does a very good job of this. He says this isn't just about me. This is about all of us who are Trump people. We all are, very susceptible to this kind of miscarriage of justice.
Monica Crowley, this isn't just about New York. Joe Biden, Manhattan, he won in 2020 this borough of this sewage lagoon by 70 percentage points. So Alvin Bragg, in this ginned up felony case, managed to get a bunch of Biden fans or a bunch of anti-Trump jurors. However, this is about the United States of America, because this was not just about Alvin Bragg, who ran on going after President Trump. This was about the Justice Department, who sent one of their top guys into Bragg's office to work with him on this prosecution. This is about a coordinated effort to convict President Trump so Biden can run on calling him a convicted felon. This is about a warning to anybody doing business in the United States of America that this is not a level playing field. If you're not part of the nomenclatura and lining Biden's pockets, then you better look out.
Yeah, Dagan and Sean and Steve, this is just the latest chapter in this war for the future of America and what kind of country we are going to be. And for a very long time, only one side was fighting that war, the left. And they have been doing it in a very revolutionary kind of way through the long march through the institutions, whether it's government or our legal system or big tech or academia or the culture or the news media. The long march through the institutions culminates in days like this, where you have an outrageous form of election interference in a sham trial. This is Stalin-esque. Show me the man, I'll show you the crime. So now we're in a place in America where we don't prosecute crimes, we prosecute people. And we make crimes out of thin air and then prosecute it in a jurisdiction like New York City, where you are guaranteed to get the kind of result you want. The left has destroyed a fundamental cornerstone of what makes our republic unique and special with the protection of individual rights and freedoms. They have destroyed that cornerstone for short-term political gain, meaning destroying Donald Trump, or at least trying to. And this kind of epic election interference. This is where we are in this country. This is a very dangerous moment. We have crossed the Rubicon. So yes, the New York brand has been really hurt. We had the governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, and her predecessor, Andrew Cuomo, before he stepped down, basically say to people like me, you're not wanted in New York. You don't represent New York values. But when you tease it out, this is now going national to the point where the left has destroyed the country, ripped the country apart, destroyed the Constitution and all of the rights therein, because Donald Trump has been an existential threat to their absolute grip on power. The hour is very late in this country, guys, and I hope everybody wakes up.
Steve, those of us who are old enough to remember, think back to Ronald Reagan, who always used to quote a sermon from John Winthrop, saying that we shall be a shining city upon a hill. He said that all the time in his campaign speeches, in his addresses as president. It feels like that shining city upon a hill is crumbling tonight.
I agree. And, you know, I've been in elections a long time. I'm an economist, so I always believe that this election, remember the famous saying that it's the economy, stupid. And look, I clearly think that if it's about the economy, Trump is going to win a landslide. But you know what? Right now, I don't know what Monica thinks about this. You know what we should say? It's about our justice system, stupid. And I want everyone, you know, I don't want people to get violent here. I want people to do everything they can to get out and vote. The only way we can correct this is by electing Donald J. Trump.
No doubt about that.
Yeah, Monica, final word real quick to you.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with Steve. And if there's any silver lining to this absolute catastrophe, it's that more and more American people are waking up to not just what a sham and what a railroading of the former and likely next president all of this has been, how blatantly political, but how dangerous a moment this is. I think you're seeing it borne out in the poll numbers because, you know, Polymarket that predicts the likely presidential winner, it's a betting odds market. On April 15th, when they began polling on this question about the likely presidential winner, when this whole sham trial started, Trump was up by 1 point. Last couple of days, Trump is up by 19. So you're actually generating a rallying effect around Donald Trump. And one thing that the left has done here, everybody thinks has been the impossible, which is turn Donald Trump into the underdog, turn him into a political martyr, and generate sympathy for this man. And it's well-deserved.
No doubt about that. As Donald Trump said, the real verdict will be November 5th. Steve Moore, Monica Crowley, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.